Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered. I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. I had a nice Thanksgiving with Mom on Thursday. Took a trip to Eastport. Had a wonderful Thanksgiving with my sister-in-law, or my sister and brother-in-law in Eastport, Maine, on Friday. Stayed up there through Saturday. Came home on Sunday. What a great weekend. This past week, busy. As well as the next couple of weeks coming up for Cheshire TV is going to be a busy week, busy couple of weeks coming leading into Christmas. It's Sunday when I'm taping this. Saturday of this week, it was the full range of what we do here at Cheshire TV. We 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we taped the elementary school advanced band concert. Very nice. Short, condensed program. Beautiful. I think they did 6 songs. Nice. Very nice. Great. Elementary school kids. We turned around the gear immediately after that. Went from the high school auditorium to the Best Western Ballroom, where we filmed the Ladies of the Rainbow drag show. That's the way this business works sometimes. Elementary school kids to drag queens. All within hours of each other. But that was a fantastic show. Aid Services of the Monadnock region raised a buttload of money on Saturday night. I think. Packed house. More people than I have ever seen at any of the shows that Susan's put on. And I've got to tell you, Susan is one of the nonprofits in town that takes full advantage of Cheshire TV and its services. We've done many shows, and I believe we're into our 5th or 6th year of doing the drag shows. And it's a blast. We had a good crew. Everything went real smooth. And it was nice. Let's see. A couple committee, council meetings and stuff we did. Those are getting a lot smoother. Because there's a lot to get used to the robotic system. You see what I've got in front of me here. There's twice as much for the city council meeting. So, those are getting smoother. The committee meetings are still being recorded. This coming week, tomorrow night, we're going to half of the crew will be at Monadnock School Board covering their meeting. The other half of our crew will be at the high school for a holiday concert on Tuesday night. So Christmas entertainment is booming. And of course, Small Pond Productions right now is in the middle. They've got one more week left this coming weekend over in Marlborough at the Marlborough Community House for a Christmas Carol, starring a lot of the local people that you know. Gonna be a great show. And I hear the Lions Club this year is going to be doing Wizard of Oz. Sounds like another great show. What do I want to talk about with some meaning today? How about role models? Good? Bad? Do you care? The way that I feel about it is, not so much. We all say that we want our kids to have positive role models, and they get positive role models. Football quarterback, Michael Vick. Before you know it, oh my God, he's involved in big court things with dogfighting, cruelty to animals. Some of our younger kids, because of the Disney Channel, a lot of our younger female members of the population looked up to Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana. Want to be just like Miley Cyrus? Sure. She was a great role model when she was 12. Now, not so much. And everybody's appalled. Oh my God, Miley Cyrus has turned into a little party tramp. Yeah. People go through these phases as they grow up. They're not going to stay the same sweet little innocent kid that they always were. So role models are kind of overrated. Hell of a lot of people looked up to Lance Armstrong. What a great man. He beat cancer. He won the Tour de France 7 times. No wonder. He was taking drugs to do it. Baseball players that we look up to tell our kids, oh, be just like him. Until we find out that just like him means taking steroids. Best thing for you to do as a parent with your kids is tell them to ignore role models. Kids don't need role models. Kids need to grow up learning to be themselves. We don't want our kids to grow up to be like somebody else. We want our kids to grow up to be themselves. A lot of people think I'm not a good role model for kids because I smoke cigarettes, I eat like crap, I smoke pot. But you know something? I consider myself one of the better role models for kids. Because when I talk to kids, it's not about me. It's about them and what they've got to look forward to. My input on that is I'm able to be honest with kids and tell them, look, I do this and I do this and I do this, and I've wasted the majority of my life. Don't do that. I tell people, don't be like me. Smarten up sooner. I'm trying to squeeze in all the stuff that I took for granted in my younger days. I'm trying to squeeze it in now before I die. And you don't want to have to do that. Role models are great. But you have to realize when you put people up on the pedestal, they're going to dive off. Amy Winehouse is another example. John Belushi. I looked up to John Belushi when I was a kid because I had that little comedy bug. I wanted to be like some of these comedians. And I wanted to be like some of these rock and roll guys. And you know what that meant? In order to be just like them, that's right. Snorting and drinking and partying and carousing. And you know something? The role models that I thought were good role models, because they were rich and famous and had everything, they weren't good role models. They were just idiots like me. So, Elvis is the same one. People were devastated when they found out, oh my God, Elvis died of a drug overdose. What do you mean a drug overdose? Elvis can't do drugs. He's the king. Guess what? Your king was a peasant. Just like everybody else, a jester. Not so much a king, a jester. And he paid for it. These people that we look up to that end up doing stupid things. I'm sure that when Lance Armstrong started racing bicycles, when Michael Vick started playing football, he didn't think, I'm going to play football so I can be a role model. He said, I'm going to play football because that's what I do. And Lance Armstrong, he liked to race bikes. So he raced bikes. But I don't think anyone sets out intentionally to be a role model, really. If you want your kids to have role models, then be role models as parents. Teachers are good role models. Sometimes. We want our kids to look up to teachers. And politicians. Oh my God. Don't get me started on politicians. Good role models. Got people cheating and lying and stealing. And buying their way out of trouble. And those are our role models. It's a sad state of affairs. It's not our fault. Because we want our kids to grow up right. Well, and don't tell your kids to be like somebody else. Stand up, be a good role model yourself for your kids. Be honest with your kids. If you've done horrible things in your past, tell your kids, you've been there. You've done that. Don't go, I've never smoked pot in my life. So don't try it. Tell your kid, yeah, I smoked pot. It's not good for you. Take some first-hand advice. Maybe if enough kids hear enough people talking about how bad things are. I mean, alcohol. A lot of people focus on pot because pot is illegal. But kids grow up in an environment where everybody drinks. Hard day work, hit the bar, have a drink. Business meeting, couple drinks. The world is greased on drinks. 3 martini lunches. There's no need for it. Teach your kids. And if you're a good role model for your kids, don't come slamming into the house after work. Oh, God damn it, I need a beer. Horrible day at work, I need a beer. Stop that. Teach your kids, especially with alcohol. Alcohol has got to be one of the leading death makers that we've got. They can't do anything about it. For one reason, there's too many drinkers. For another reason, there's too many big corporations that fight it. And lobbyists. And there's too much money to be made. I keep thinking that will be one of the reasons why pot eventually gets legalized. Because the government will figure the amount of money it will be able to raise in taxes. But then somebody brought up a point to me one day. They said the government feels that it can make more money with pot being illegal through fines, and I don't understand this, putting people in jail, because it just costs money to keep people in jail. But apparently they figure, arresting people and getting fines is brings in more money than just, putting that little tax stamp on the bottom of the baggie of pot or whatever, So I don't know. But yeah, it's just everything that we complain about in society didn't just magically fall into place. We've let it all happen. Going forward, who knows? I believe that by the end of the year, we're supposed to have all of our troops out of Iraq. I heard a story just the other day where they were saying that I believe Camp Victory, the big main place where all like our top guys were, that is completely in the hands now of the Iraqi military. Good for them, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really affect me because chances are I'll never go to Iraq. So, and chances are, a lot of people from Iraq are never going to come to New Hampshire. Plain and simple. We got presidential candidates that don't even come to New Hampshire. Oh, well. Or Keene, anyway. They're in Manchester and all over that way. Oh, I do have to say, at the drag show on Saturday night, Fred Karger was in attendance. And that was a great thing. For those of you who just went, Fred who? Yeah, Fred who? Fred Karger. He is the first openly gay presidential candidate. He's a Republican. So, I mean, in your own little mind, you can decide, whether you don't like him because he's a Republican or whether you don't like him because he's gay. But, he's got, some different ideas. Some of the same ideas as some of the other Republicans. And different ideas. Just like every single person running for office has different ideas. A lot of them, are the same ideas in different formats. You don't know. I mean, we don't know. Everybody thought that Obama was the one. I don't think he is. I don't think he's accomplished the things that he said he was going to accomplish in a way that is honorable. If that makes any sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense to you. Because I'm starting to wonder if it makes sense to me. Yes, he's done a lot of things that he said he was going to do. But the ways that he got there were through like bullying and intimidation. And I mean, every time he shows up on TV, it seems like he starts out with we're in a crisis, and if we don't act now, we're all in trouble. If you don't pass this health care bill today, fire will rain out of the sky. If we don't bail out the banks, great floods will come. Or whatever. But he's always on that edge. If we don't take care of this right now, my way, everything's lost. And I don't see it. Bails out the banks, bails out the auto manufacturers, bails out the mortgage people. I mean, all of these bailouts, and where's mine? When is the average American gonna get bailed out? That's what I want to know. No, he gives these rich cats billions and billions and billions of dollars. Then he bumps up our taxes. So we we pay more because these big banking corporations that are supposed to know what the hell they're doing have no clue. So the American credit rating gets bumped down, which means that my credit card rates go up? How does that work? I've been paying my bills to the people the president gave billions to. Face it, nothing is going to change, in my mind, without a complete revolution. And that doesn't just mean changing presidents. That means changing presidents, cutting the size of government in half. Because we don't need 500 people in the House of Representatives and 200 people in Senate. And paying them all. Cut the government down. Lock the state house doors and chain them up like in that movie Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman when he chained them doors closed to keep the drug dealers out. But we need to chain the state house doors and the Capitol doors, the House of Representative doors, chain them up to keep the lobbyists out, to keep the corporations out. That's it. Let's prove that we run this company, the workers. And you want to give them a taste of what it's like? Let's have 1 week where everybody in the country that doesn't make $100,000 stop working. Let's have an entire nation. If we could arrange an entire nationwide strike for 3 days with the so-called average American workers. If the people that actually do the work in this country, if we all stop doing what we do for 3 days, this country would be on its knees, begging us to go back to work. Think about it. People that don't make $100,000 a year. Cities would burn. Crime would be rampant because cops and firemen don't make that much money. Where would the corporations be without their lowly $10, $12 an hour people? If all them $10 and $12 an hour people stopped working, these corporations wouldn't make billions in profits. They would make nothing. And then what would they do? Some poor SOB somewhere would have to sell his yacht so he could buy his next meals. I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. But this is stuff that we have to think about you see, the whole Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Boston, Occupy, wherever. I've got an idea. Pack up your tents and go home. Because at this point, nobody's paying attention to you anyway. They just, oh yeah, that's all them kooks down there in the park with their tents. Who cares? They are the 99%. Fighting against the 1% at the top. Actually, they're not even the 99%. They're probably the 95%. Fighting against the 1% at the top. And the other 4% are down at the bottom who nobody gives a crap about. Still. What I want to know is, all these Occupy Wall Street people, Occupy Boston people, don't they have jobs? I would love to be out protesting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I have to work. No getting around it. I have to work because I have to pay my bills. Because if I don't pay my bills, they'll take my crap away and put me in jail. So I don't know. Occupy protesters, go home. You know? At this point, all you're doing is costing the 4% at the bottom their life. Because their taxes are going up. Because you're costing them money. By all these cities having to buy super huge cans of pepper spray and stuff. I don't know. It's just, it has to be done right. You know, and by this time we figured out that the system of government we have doesn't work. And it's corrupt. No matter how much we vote, you know, everybody says, oh, vote because your vote counts. Well, yeah, your vote counts until a lobbyist, you know, somewhere rips up all them votes and says, no, vote my way. Because our corporation can give you billions. So, I don't know. Find out where I'm going here. Into the credits, I guess, because we're just about out of time for another week. So, we'll be back next week. And until then, you know, think about some of the things I said. Be good to each other. Take care. Peace.